Meet my ex-girlfriend. Her problem was obviously this central. This patient's been walking around with this central for like 40 years. The only reason why she had it changed was it became symptomatic. So we did an endo, and we thought, right, it's a single central. What are my options? I either do a direct veneer or an indirect veneer with or without internal bleaching. And now that we've done a root filling, I thought, well, it's a great time to do some internal bleaching. So the technique that we use now is the modified walking bleaching technique. So after some internal bleaching, we're at this stage. So I had to make a decision as to how I'm going to restore this now. Yeah. So again, I could do an indirect veneer or composite veneer. The key thing is you need to cover up these cracks because those are the areas that will relapse the fastest once you whiten them. You'll get stains back in those cracks. And obviously we need to replace this composite and get rid of this opalescence in that area. So I decided to restore this case using a single shade of composite. Again, I use some white tints just to create more natural effects. So we're at A2 first, and then we do 3 weeks of Enlighten. We get a whiter than B1, and then we're ready to do the composite veneer. Yeah. When you're doing bonding after bleaching, you want to wait roughly 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, the longer the better. Yeah, the reason being is once you've done your bleaching, there is still oxygen molecules within the tooth. Yeah, so you need to give it a few weeks so it can be liberated. And if you don't, what you'll find is that the resin tags are less defined, more fragmented, and there's less penetration. So what that may manifest as is possibly post-operative sensitivity, marginal breakdown, marginal staining, potential early loss of your restoration. So give it a couple of weeks at least, but that allows you to get your wax ups and things done. So isolation, so in this particular case, I was quite happy with the initial form, so I just took an intraoral mock-up index of that. We're going to use a single shade of microfill and nano for the plate or shell that you'll see in a second. So what we do is we apply the composite onto the tooth, light cure it, and choose the one that matches the closest. Isolate, remove the existing restoration and the staining around it. Then I use the needle burr just to open up those cracks so I can get some resin into those areas. Fill up the access cavity, put up my lingual wall, fill up the dentine. I just added a little bit of white tints around the periphery and then slapped on a microfill. And what you can see here, this is pre-polishing, so I've got to the blue disc. You can see that my light angles are too far apart. I need to bring them in so it matches what you can see on the natural tooth. Yeah, so you just use the blue disc, roll over the interproximal areas from the blue, yellow, pink, and buff it up. So you can get pretty good aesthetics even if it's a single veneer with a single shade of composite, but you can accent your restoration with tints. Yeah, but ultimately it's all down to case selection.